What's up, YouTube, Raider Nation? We're going to start another playlist on the Voidox Experiment. And I think we're just going to call it Raider Reactions, something like that. But it's going to be any type of news. Obviously, after every game, we're going to talk about the game, win, lose, or draw. We're going to talk about NFL in general. I love football, but the Raiders, die hard, all my life, bleed silver and black. So I think we're going to have a good year this year. I'm looking forward to it. And so what I'm going to do is whatever news we need to talk about, we'll talk about. Whatever news is making its rounds across all the big stations, what's important, what's relevant, we'll get to all that. This right here, could the Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos make the playoffs? Let's see what they got to say about it, man. We're gonna give our 2 cents worth.
Realistic. I mean, it's
Technically,
technically
it can unlikely, happen. But it could happen.
Right. So if you look at the AFC East, you say Buffalo's in as the division champion,
right?
And then, either New England and Miami as a wild card, maybe.
Maybe. I think.
Does a wild card have to come out of the AFC East? I mean, I don't know what New England's going to bring to the table this year. They'll probably be as good, probably a little better. Mac Jones got a year of experience under his belt, but I don't know. They might not send a wild card team to the playoffs.
I think if New England or Miami make it, they're either the 6 or 7 seed. I don't think they would be, the 5 seed at all.
All right, AFC South. Tennessee was the number 1 overall seed a year ago. I suspect they'll be in contention again, alongside maybe Indianapolis.
That's another division that could send one team to the playoffs. Like realistically, they could send Tennessee and send Buffalo, and that's all. You get one team, Pittsburgh or Baltimore, Cincinnati. I don't know, man. I don't know. Now that I forgot all about that division there because I can't speak on Cleveland. I don't know if they're going to be competitive. But Cincinnati's going to be competitive. I think Pittsburgh's going to be a little better than they were last year. So I don't know. I don't think we're going to send 4 teams out of the AFC East or AFC West.
Those are the 2 teams vying for those spots, right?
I think Indy wins the division. They're in, and I think Tennessee's kind of like New England and Miami. They're just kind of fighting to kind of get back into the playoff mix. I don't think they'll be the 1 seed. I don't think. Not when you lose.
Well, we didn't think they were going to be last year either, too.
No, we lose a player like A.J. Brown, though. I think there's certainly a drop off there. I think Tennessee's going to struggle to make the playoffs this year.
All right, you move over.
I agree with that. I think that's a 1 team. Now, it's either going to be Tennessee or Indianapolis, but I think 1 team is going to make the playoffs out of that division.
To the other division in the AFC, the North, right? Which, I mean, if Deshaun can go, that Cleveland Browns team is a different team. But Cincinnati played for the Super Bowl a year ago.
Are they a different team? Because Baker had them in the AFC Championship game, and Deshaun Watson ain't played a snap of real NFL football in over a year. So how ready are they going to be? How many games do they have? Besides that, isn't Deshaun Watson going to be suspended for like the first? They're talking about if Deshaun Watson can go. They just filed a lawsuit about his 6 games. That's at least what he's going to get, right? 6 games. So we don't see him until week 7 at the earliest.
Baltimore's going to be rejuvenated. Hopefully Lamar Jackson will be under a new contract. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? I mean, Pittsburgh Steelers went to the playoffs a year ago, where it was supposed to be kind of a rebuilding type of year, and Ben Roethlisberger's last year.
The problem this year is how's Trubisky going to fit in with the Steelers? I think that if Trubisky can step in and not make too many mistakes. I mean, Trubisky got to the playoffs 2 years in a row with the Chicago Bears. Who was their coach? I can't remember who their coach was, but yeah, they made it to the playoffs 2 years. Now, a lot of that had to do with the Chicago defense, clearly. But I'm just saying, Trubisky can be a serviceable quarterback for you while you try to get everything else in line.
So, I mean, there's 4 teams very capable of not only winning the division, but also being a wild card team.
I think you're going to get a situation where Baltimore gets back to the Baltimore we're used to seeing. I think they win the division, and I think Cincinnati's going to be in that mix for a wild card. I don't think Pittsburgh or Cleveland will sniff the playoffs this year.
Okay, maybe Pittsburgh and Cleveland won't sniff the playoffs, but I don't think I can have I can't have Lamar and the Ravens number 1 in my book over there. I think Cincinnati's going to come out of that. come out of there winning the division, man. They're a young team. They did spectacular things last year, and they're not going to get worse. They're going to get better. They're going to get more experience. They're going to get more under their belt. They're not coming back and dropping off this year. I don't think so. So I think it's going to be very hard for the Ravens to win that division. They might fight for a wild card, but then you're getting over here to the AFC West, and we haven't even talked about them yet.
Looked really good against the Ravens a year ago. The Cincinnati Bengals hanging 82 points on them in 2 games.
Yeah.
You know, defense was decimated. Don't get me wrong. Lamar Jackson and his injuries, but yeah, I mean that alone right there makes it very difficult to see multiple teams out of
All right, what do y'all got to say about
the AFC West, and I'm talking 3 at least. You know, we've seen it in other divisions, and it very well could be the case. And will be the case because of that 7th added team.
Right.
But playing against each other like that,
Right.
week in, week out. I forgot to look at what the Chargers have in week 1 and 2, right? Raiders.
Okay. So that's all very true. I think realistically speaking, we could send 3 teams. We're not going to send 4. I don't think the Broncos are going to make a serious playoff run. I think they're going to be involved in the mix. But, you know, I love the fact that they got Russell Wilson. I love the fact that he gets another shot to do some nice things in Denver. Obviously, the gig was up in Seattle, so that's great. He got the opportunity. But at the same time, I don't think they're going to make a lot of noise, man. And I don't think he's not a year younger. He's a year older. So, you know, I'm not saying you're going to see a drop off in Russell Wilson, but I think everybody just expected he's going to jump right back to his 2 or 3 years ago in Seattle self, and I don't know if that's going to be the case.
And then at the Chiefs on Thursday night. This Amazon's first Thursday night game, right? Because I think NBC has the first Thursday.
On a sidebar, Amazon did just jump into the game and was like, "Yo, hey, we doing this thing." All right, well, I got this here. We see these boys the first game of the year. I've seen 3 different analysts, and all 3 of them say we're going to lose that first game. We're going to win. We're going to beat the Chargers the first game of the year. People
Thursday
crazy.
night game.
Yeah, you're right. Chargers,
Crazy.
Chiefs, right out of the gate, Thursday Night Football.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when that was announced the night of the draft. I reached out to my boss at Westwood One, Howie Denneroff, and I was like, "Hey, I want that game." I didn't get that game. I'm just putting that out there.
I mean, let's be realistic. Chances of Chargers open 0-2.
There is a real chance.
There's a real chance for all them haters out there saying the Raiders gonna come and shit. That's not happening. So they definitely, I believe, gonna start out 0-1. Now whether the Chiefs can handle their business, and let me tell you something, it ain't no guarantee that the Chiefs are gonna make a whole bunch of noise this year either, because they lost Tyreek Hill. I don't know who's gonna replace that deep threat, that just everywhere you want to be threat. I don't know who's gonna replace that, and I mean, I wasn't overly impressed with the Chiefs last year. They seemed like they spent the majority of their season trying to keep their head above water. So don't be surprised if the Chiefs don't go to the playoffs next year. Yeah, I said it here first. The Vordox experiment. The Chiefs might not make the playoffs. I said it.
Lost to the Raiders to end the season a year ago.
Talk about it.
I mean, Justin Herbert's had success against the Chiefs, right?
True. That's true.
Last year, their last home game against the Chiefs, Brandon Staley really made some.
Let's get this wrap up, man. I'm not trying to make these videos too long, so.
In the first Thursday night game, they have several get-right games right in a row. They have Jacksonville, they have Houston, they have.
All right, so they veered this conversation off to talk about the Chargers. That's fine. It's all good. Their question was, could all 4 teams make the playoffs? Technically, yes, I think. But realistically, I don't know if we'll even send 3. I think we'll definitely send 2 teams. I'm not sure about 3. So this is how we're going to do it, man. We're going to react to everything that's got to do with the Raiders, the AFC West, the AFC in general, NFL in general, man. We could talk about fantasy football. I ain't put a team together this year, so I don't know how much fantasy football we're going to talk about. Maybe if I get somebody on the show that likes it, into it, because if I'm not playing it, I don't follow it as much as I probably should in order to talk about it. But anyway, I appreciate y'all listening, man. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. I can guarantee you're going to get 2 or 3 videos, Raider reaction videos a week at least during the football season. And I might just do one every day because when the season comes, I feel like there's not a day that goes by, there's not something important to talk about with them Raiders. I feel like there's an injury, a game, a highlight reel, a something. Last year it was a goddamn conspiracy. We had all kind of shit last year. This year gonna seem like smooth sailing. But anyway, we're gonna wrap it up like that, man. I appreciate you. Have a good night. And we're gonna be back at this again tomorrow.